Can you think of a time when you were tricked? I can think of a time when I was tricked.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I want to hear it. Sorry. I should have said, can you think of a time when you were tricked? And then can you tell me about it?
I thought it was a yes or no.
When is a time when someone just flat out tricked you?
Oh,
and you were like, ah.
I hate being tricked.
Unless it's like, what about like a birthday? I tricked you on your birthday.
Yeah, that was a good trick.
Yeah.
You're like, you kind of acted like you had forgotten, but then really you had planned a little guy's night for me. That was really
Shout
cool.
out to Bo, who forgot the gift, by the way.
Thanks, buddy.
We love you, Bo.
A time when I was tricked. Bait and switched.
Why don't I tell mine? And then while I'm talking, you can think of your favorite story of getting tricked. This is one of my sons. My son, we will be at a party or we will be somewhere with like other adults who'll be like, Dad, tell the possum story. Welcome to the Humanity Sells Podcast, where we talk about the marketing revolution that's happening in tech consulting and how the best businesses are elevating their brand, amplifying their message, and selling more by being more human. We're your hosts, Brandon Triola.
And I'm Nate Nettie. Let's get into it.
The story is basically this. So in the evenings, when your kids are little and you live in a smaller house, you cannot be very loud. You understand this. You guys have a 2-year-old. Every little sound when you're in a smaller house, if the kid wakes up, it's chaos, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like being punched by my wife. I'm just kidding. My wife does not punch me.
I like that you said if you live in a smaller house, you got to be quiet. If you have kids, you understand this. You have a 2-year-old. I thought you were going to say, and you live in a shoebox.
Yeah, no. Nate's house is actually double the size of mine for the record.
Not really at all.
Literally square.
I have a finished basement, which adds square footage.
Square footage wise,
same size house.
It's double the size of mine. So you know that I wasn't going to say that. But when my kids were little, you had to be really quiet at night. So it's about 10 o'clock. I'm watching football and I'm group texting with some buddies. And we have this group text called the greatest group chat ever of all time. It's awesome. We talk about sports and life and stuff like that. And I had to go to the bathroom. I had to pee. But we, at that time, had really loud toilets. And they would flush and it would be like, and like the house would shake. And sometimes I would flush the toilet and my wife would like come out and be like, what are you doing? Like, what? I'm like, I just had to go to the bathroom. So in the summer, guys will understand this. I will go out. I used to, when my kids were really little, go out at night, dark of night, pee off the back porch. It's quiet.
It's a fun activity.
You couldn't hear it unless you were outside. That's all I'll say. So in this particular night, I'm watching football. It's everyone in my house is asleep.
Yeah.
My wife, my son at the time, who's a baby. I go outside, pee off the back deck, and I see in the distance these 2 yellow eyes looking at me, like probably about 15 feet away.
Oh, yellow eyes.
I see these yellow eyes, and we had these string lights hanging, and I can see that it's a possum. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the guy instinct within you, this is probably going to sound bad, but like this possum had been getting into our trash.
Yeah.
And I was mad at this possum.
Kill it.
I was like, I'm going,
kill this.
I wasn't like necessarily trying to kill it. I was trying to send it a message. Okay. So we had this flagstone landscaping in the backyard. I pick up this piece of flagstone and I slowly pick it up, and the possum is like watching me. And as I pick up the flagstone, the possum begins to like slowly crawl. He knows what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I rear back, and within a millisecond, I am reminded of listening to some coach or gym teacher being like, you want to throw it where they're going to be. Don't throw it where they are. Throw it where they're going to be. I hear this person's voice in my head. And so I sidearm and just let this thing go. Perfect throw. I put it right ahead of where the possum's going to be. And in the dead of night, I hear the loudest, ooh, thud. And I see the possum roll across the yard. I nail this thing, which is an anomaly because I don't have a great aim at all when it comes to throwing flagstone. And I walk over to this possum, and it's tongue hanging out of its mouth. Just like,
you freaking nailed it.
Dude, I got this thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just killed a possum. Oh, I feel kind of terrible. I go inside. I pick up the phone. I'm texting the guys in the group chat. You guys are not going to. And as I'm getting through the first sentence, I go, oh, no. And it hits me. And I'm like, no, there can't be. I throw the phone down. I run outside. I run to where the possum is. I look down. Gone. the possum freaking tricked me. And I was even more mad. And I just remember laughing. And so that was one of the times when I felt so tricked. And to this day, because I was tricked, I do not trust a possum. If I see it, it's all, just to this day, I will never trust a possum again.
That was a great story. Thank you.
Where are you going?
I'm going to get my phone. I got tricked the other day.
Okay.
I got tricked the other day on LinkedIn. Freaking
Don't
LinkedIn.
share any names.
No, I would never. I would never. I think I deleted it because I was so angry. I was so frustrated.
You taught them.
You know what sucks about it, though, is that my inbox in LinkedIn, I think they have a problem. Everybody is trying to trick you on LinkedIn.
They're all trying to trick you.
It's like in mail. Hey, Nate.
Yeah.
Look at this one that I got right here. This guy, he emailed. This is not how I got tricked, but this is like what they do. This is how far it's gotten. Hi, Nate. This might be a weird compliment. Ha ha. But I love you guys' approach to marketing. Do you charge a retainer or a performance-based fee? Open-ended.
That's it.
That's innocuous.
Yeah.
Complimentary. I'm intrigued. Ha ha.
I got one.
You're not complimenting me.
I got one that started.
You don't know me.
I got one that started the exact same way. Hey, Brandon, I love your company's approach to marketing. I have a couple questions for you if you have time.
Oh.
Like, I can smell a sales pitch a mile away. And here's the point that I want to make with all this. When you trick someone, they do not trust you. And also, you cannot trick somebody into trusting you. Sometimes I feel like...
Have you ever been in a moment where like, gotcha, and you're like,
yeah,
I trust you more.
Like, it doesn't work that way. You don't trick your wife into marrying you. Like, well, maybe I did. Like, maybe I had to.
Dude.
My wife's beautiful. Like,
she also has bad eyes. She can't really see that good. That's kind of how you snuck in. No,
I made sure the room
fine.
was really dark when I proposed. No, my wife is stunning. I said that's an anomaly. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I'm married up for sure.
But the point is, the human brands, human technology brands, human consulting brands, human digital transformation brands, the ones that know how to connect are the ones that are not tricking people. They don't have their BDRs out on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
They don't have their people at events trying to trick people into demos.
Yeah.
They're not giving away something.
There's no
in
gimmick.
hopes they're going to get a sale. It's not gimmicky. And I think honestly, like a lot of the most brilliant technology consultants that we work with, they're really honest people and they don't want to trick someone. And they actually think that marketing is trickery. They actually think that this idea of demand gen is trickery. So they don't do it. But the most human way to generate demand and build trust is to just be honest in helping people in what you give away. So it's twofold, right? First of all, don't trick people. You can't trick someone into trusting you. And the most human marketing and brand strategy out there are the brand strategy tactics and the marketing tactics that are the most human. They're the most honest. They're the most authentic to who you are. And you don't have to be like the possum. The possum's still out there. One day.
That's good, man. Don't trick people.
Fun fact on possums, I actually was so impassioned by this event that I started researching possums. Did you know that they are the only species in the United States that is a marsupial? They are more closely related to a kangaroo than they are a raccoon. And contrary to popular belief, possums do not carry diseases like we think. They actually go after ticks. And if you see possums around your property, you have a lower chance of having ticks near your property.
I saw a possum in the daytime last week.
That possum was drunk.
What does that mean?
I don't know. But they are nocturnal, so you rarely see them in the daytime.
Ooh, nocturnal marsupial. That's a good name.
There you go. New band name. I want the audience to hear some of your scary stories.
I will tell you a story. I have many scary stories. I've been many a sticky situation. But I will tell you a scary story. I thought I was going to die. I'm not kidding.
Were you in the ocean?
No, I'm not scared of the ocean.
Nate's scared of the ocean.
I'm not scared of the ocean. I'm scared of dying in the ocean. Those are two very different things. Okay?
Whenever we go to the ocean or we're at the beach or anything, Nate just like stays on the sand.
I swam in the last time I went there. Listen, you guys ever heard of a rip current? This guy's never heard. He's like, yeah, just go in and swim. Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Next thing you know, you're halfway to Tahiti. That thing sucks you out. Anyway, there was a time in my life. There's this one day I thought I was going to die, and I thought I thought an ex-con was going to murder me. It goes a lot into trust and being human, actually, because...
Well, what better? Because that's what the podcast is about.
When I was growing up, okay, my dad was a builder, and he also worked for building companies. So all of my, you know how typically your dads will get you, or parents, whoever they're connected to in your community, like, oh, my son needs a job, like work at the restaurant, serving pizza, whatever it is. My dad's connections were in the building industry. So, dude, I've been doing manual labor since I was 9 years old. That's how I started doing just work. You know, like one day my dad walked in, he was like, come on outside, you're going to run the Bobcat. And I was like, what? Like,
I would have thought of an actual, like a bobcat.
No,
an animal.
like a skid steer. Like if you guys know out there, a skid steer, it's a full grown men run this thing to do heavy equipment. He put me on it at 9 years old to move dirt piles around our yard. I've been working since then. So he gets me this job as a laborer, like for a construction company, which means you do whatever they need you to do. So I turned 16 that summer.
We need you to flip rocks over there in that field.
I'm talking about the worst kind of job. So we get a heavy rain and there's 3 feet of water in the basement of this house that's being framed. Go bring a sump pump over there, put your boots on, drain the basement. Just go through there. Go sweep out this house with a push broom because they're done sanding from the drywall taping.
Yeah.
There's drywall dust everywhere. Sweep it out, get all the drywall dust out of this 6,000 square foot house. This is before smartphones. This is before, you know, like there was iPods, but I was too poor to have one of those.
You were T9 texting.
So I was T9 texting, and I was just like bored all day doing hard work. So this one day, I am working for this company. It is not my dad's company. It is one of his friends. He owns this home building company, and he in the morning there's this guy there. This guy looks a little bit older, probably mid-40s. And for the purposes of this story, I will just call him Bob.
That sounds like a terrifying name.
So Bob is in his mid-40s. He's got sandy blonde hair. He has a goatee. He's pretty overweight. And I get there in the morning, and my boss, who owned the company, pretty big company, he's there to meet me with this guy. I'm like, oh, this is weird. And I never see the owner of the company. Like, usually it's another guy, but whatever. So he's like, hey, Nate, meet Bob. Bob's going to start working with you, doing this work. I'm like, hey, this is great. I don't have to sweep out these houses by myself. Yeah, man, hop in the van. Let's go. So the owner goes, Bob, why don't you go pull the van around, and Nate will meet you there. He's like, yeah. Bob takes off, goes to get the van, and he pulls me aside. He goes, listen, Bob's my wife's cousin. Bob just got out of prison, okay? And we put him in an apartment. He's in a recovery program, and we're giving him a job, and he's working with you. And immediately, I am like, what? I'm 16.
How old? You're 16.
16. I have not encountered a situation like this before. I am not prepared to like what do you get in the truck? How is prison? Like what do you say?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
How's the prison food?
Yeah. Like you don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, like
gruel omelets.
This guy's a convict. Like, and granted, he was super nice. You know, there was nothing off about him.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to go back.
Yeah. So we get to work, right? We drive out 35 minutes to this house, and we show up, and it's this big house. It was in a parade of homes, if you know what that is. They're getting ready to do this whole street was built for this giant. All the builders have their biggest homes on this street, and people in the fall are gonna come tour them all when they're done. And this is probably 6,000-7,000 square foot house. It's huge, We got so much work to do. Job site's a mess. There's stuff everywhere. We got to clean the job site. We have to sweep out the house. We got to frame some stuff in. We're just doing all kinds of stuff. And so we walk in the house and we walk up to the second floor where we were going to start working. And he turns to me and he goes, hey, you get started. I'll catch up with you. And so I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I start sweeping. And about half an hour later, he's like nowhere to be seen. Like he just kind of like let me go, do my thing. And I like go look around the corner. He's laid down on his back on the floor in what would be the bathroom in the future when the house is built.
Yeah.
Laid down on his back, knees up, mouth open, snoring.
Just asleep. Bob checked out for the day.
We just started. We just got to the job. It's 10:30 in the morning. You know, whatever it was, we had to drive. So I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. So Bob sleeps till lunchtime. And we go out to the car. We eat lunch together. And I'm like, man, like this is weird. This is all the flags are going off in my head. Like, what do I say? Like, I'm not going to tell on this guy. But like, you know, like this is weird. Like I'm working twice as hard. Whatever. So
you totally tattled on him, didn't you?
I'll get there. Get ahead of me. So the afternoon comes and Bob disappears. He's in the van. He's just head back on the headrest, just zonked for the afternoon in the van. So we wrap up the day. We go back to the shop, and Bob hops in his car.
So did Bob sleep the whole day?
Yeah.
Bob didn't work at all.
I would say, shuffling around, kind of picking stuff up and setting it down.
Yeah.
Not much of a purpose. Just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Aimlessly moving around.
Yeah.
No effort.
Yeah.
Sleeping most of the
I feel
time.
like every construction crew has a guy like that.
Yeah. So I had resolved on the way home. I was like, you know what? This isn't my thing. I'm just making money. I'm working hard. I'm not going to get in the middle of this. Well, we get back to the shop. Bob takes off and the owner is there. He pulls me aside before I take off. Hey, Nate, I want to talk to you. How'd Bob do today? Boof. So I'm 16. I'm like, I'm an honest Abe kind of guy. I'm not tattling, but hey, if you ask, well, and I'm kind of looking at the ground, shuffling my feet. He's like, no, you can be honest with me. You can be honest with me. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, he kind of slept all day. His face changes. Really? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overstep. I know this. We kind of got to the job, and I don't know what he was doing. I was working. He might have been doing something else. I was trying to be real charitable. I was but I'm pretty sure he took kind of a long lunch, and he didn't get a lot done. He goes, okay, yeah, thanks for telling me. Leaves.
He was pissed.
So the next day we show up to work. Boss isn't there. We get in the van because we're sharing this big, Ford van. Like the ones that are emptied out in the back. It's like a 15-passenger van. It was emptied out. We throw all the crap in there. And we're 45 minutes away, headed to this job site. And we work a little bit. And Bob, he's not sleeping, but Bob is shuffling. He's not working. We're there for a couple hours, and we eat lunch. And after lunch, we have to drive, another 30 minutes, whatever, to the next place. And while we're driving, Bob's phone rings. Bob's driving. I'm sitting next to him in the van, and the phone rings. He goes, this is literally the conversation. He goes, hello? Oh, hey, boss. How you doing? Uh-huh. No, we're just driving to the next job. Oh, yeah, yesterday? Mm-hmm. He goes like this. He goes, oh, he did. He looks over at me. He goes, uh-huh. That's what he said? He's not even looking at the road. He's just looking at me.
You saw your life flash before your eyes.
That's what he said, huh? Oh, right now you want us to come back? Puts one hand on the steering wheel, leans on the phone. He's staring at me. He's like, all right, we'll be back at the shop. Hangs up the phone, throws it down. And I'm like, I'm in the passenger seat. I start to grip the side of the thing. And he's not looking at me. And he's just driving like this. And he goes, apparently, someone told our boss that I was asleep all day yesterday. I wonder who that could have been. And I was like, this guy, we're on a back road, farm roads, hills. He punches it. He is going 85 miles an hour on a backcountry road that is not straight. Up and down, and just this van. In a van.
A top-heavy van.
Like, he is punching it. He's breathing through his nose real heavy. Like, he's just... And he's saying stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what he was in prison for, but I know he just got out of prison, and I'm thinking...
He was weighing whether or not he wanted to go back.
Yes, yeah. He was... I guarantee you to this day, he was thinking, is it worth going back to do this to this kid? We're in the middle of nowhere, and I am thinking, he is going to yank this thing off to the side of the road. Either we're going to wreck, and we're both going to die, or he's going to beat me to a pulp. And thankfully, he did not. We made it back to the shop. It was probably the most awkward drive of my life.
But did he sleep that day?
No, not that day. The most awkward and tension-filled ride of my entire life. And we make it back to the shop, and sure enough, the owner's waiting there. And he's like, Nate, he didn't even want to talk to me. Nate, you can go home. Just right away. And the next day, there's no Bob.
Bob's still looking for you, probably.
Dude, don't say that. I hope that he is not. But here's what I learned. Here's what I learned from that. There's a lot that you can learn from this. You can set people up to win. You can have the best intentions. Do the most human thing. Take a family member, put them on their feet, give them a job. But if they don't want to, if they don't have a real vision for their life, or an idea of how they can change, who they can become, doesn't matter how much you help them. And as a leader now, like leading a team and stuff, I think about this all the time. And when I look, for hiring creative people specifically, it's like, do they want to be coached? Do they want to be helped? Do they have an intrinsic desire to get better? And can you sense that from the moment you start talking to them? Because if they don't have that, you can do everything that you can do, everything you can think of for them, and you're never going to move the needle for them. And at the end of the day, you're just going to be riding shotgun while they are just whipping it down a country road inside of your business, making everybody afraid that they're going to die, and it's just not going to be good.
Yeah, man. Man, it's good.
That's it.